What's up, LC Percussion? It's Mr. Caldwell here, and today we're going to talk about our foundational aspects of drumming, okay? So that is how we hold the stick, including our stick grip, proper technique there, and how we strike a drum or any other percussion instrument. So some of you, maybe this is newer or you haven't had much experience learning the exact nature of how we hold our sticks. But some of you are asking, hey, Mr. Caldwell, I've been playing drums for years. I've been taking lessons. I think I know how to hold a stick. Well, just you wait, okay? This will be good for all of us, all right? So even if it's review, it's good that we all have the same foundation so that we can learn and grow in our proper technique and apply it to our playing. So let's get started. Alright, first things first, getting started here with our grip, how we hold the stick. Okay, so many of you may have some Vic sticks, and it's a great company. Really, the company doesn't matter of what sticks you have. But the cool thing with this is it can show you where to place your hands, okay? So cool trick, if you have Vic sticks, is you place your thumb right where that American flag is, okay? That's usually a good placement of most people's hands when they're dealing with the stick here, okay? And I'll tell you why. So if you put your thumb here, it's about a third of the way in, right? So if you don't have Vic sticks, just think about a third of the way in, and it's going to become our balance point. This is called our fulcrum right here at this third point, okay? So this is our balance point. And with our balance point, let me show you if you're all the way up here, okay? So if we're all the way up here, do you see how much work I have to put in with my arm just to get a stroke going? Right? I'm doing all the work. You don't want to make your arm do all the work, okay? If you're all the way back here, there's no control. You try that now. Grab a stick and try hitting your pad by holding it all the way back here. There's no control, right? You can't be as accurate. So right here is a perfect balance point so that when you strike, the stick is going to go in a fluid motion, okay? So also try this. Try super loose, just with your fulcrum here. Just hitting your pad. And you see how that balance point lets the stick bounce right there? I'm not doing anything right there. That's all the stick, okay? So I've been talking a lot about fulcrum. What's our fulcrum, okay? So our fulcrum consists of that balance point here with our thumb and our pointer finger here, okay? So this right here is our main, this is where all of our power comes from. This is where our stability and our power comes from here. This is our axis point, our fulcrum, okay? So with our fulcrum, you can do anything with as long as the fulcrum's strong, right? Then we wrap our fingers around, okay? So once you got that fulcrum, you wrap all your fingers around. These three fingers are super important to keep on the stick at all times, okay? When we get back in class someday, hopefully soon, I'll be on you on this, okay? I see a lot of people playing right with their fingers out here. And I'll say, hey, put those fingers in. So we got to keep our fingers in on the stick at all time. All your fingers should be touching the stick the entire time that you're playing. Reason why is for control, okay? So if I have all three of these fingers on the stick, I have maximum control, okay? The stick will move and I can bring it back in. I can keep it where it wants. Without it, the stick's doing the work, okay? You don't want the stick to control you. You want to control the stick, all right? So don't let the stick control you. So, let's review. Everybody take out your stick. You got your fulcrum. You got your thumb and your pointer finger. Wrapping all of your fingers around the stick, okay? Another thing, we don't want to be too tight, okay? I see this a lot, right? Students have like a death grip, okay? Like the stick's going to run away from them. creates really bad tone on the drums, right? There's no room for that wood to breathe. Also, your arms are going to hurt really, really bad after playing for a long time, okay? Because you're using too much pressure. The key to drumming is economy of motion, okay? So economy of motion means don't do something unless you have to, okay? So if you don't have to squeeze tight and use all your might to get a stroke out, don't do that. Use the least amount of resistance as possible, right? So nice fluid motion here. So my grip is pretty loose. This is kind of how my grip is when I'm playing, okay? It's pretty loose. All the fingers are still on the stick though. Now you don't want to be too loose, right? Then you have no control. And you can do stuff like, you know, the stick will fall out of your hand and such, okay? So you don't want to be too loose there. Get my stick. You don't want to be too loose when dealing with your grip. But just a perfect balance so it's nice and easy, okay? That brings me to my favorite concept when we're talking about drumming is the concept of bouncing a basketball, okay? So if you've bounced a basketball before, you know that if you're bouncing a basketball, you don't bounce it like this, right? With a stiff arm. And you also don't, you know, throw your arms around like that. When you're bouncing a basketball, it's a nice fluid motion, right? Like this. Right? It's back and forth. And so it starts from your arm and it kind of waves through your wrist, okay? So same thing when we're drumming. When we're drumming, we don't just drum with our wrists, and we also don't just drum with our arms, right? It's using both in a fluid motion. And you can do stuff like that. And you can't get there if you're stiff, right? It's a fluid motion. If you're stiff, it just doesn't work, right? But we'll get there, okay? We'll get there. So nice fluid motion, that's the emphasis. So think about bouncing that basketball. Everybody try that on their own. Picture yourself bouncing basketball. Maybe get a basketball from the garage, go outside, see how it feels. Come back, grab your sticks. Similar motion, okay? Nice and relaxed. Last thing we're going to talk about, when we're talking about grips, there's different kinds of grips that you use for different applications in band, okay? So snare drum grip is what we call the German grip, okay? So the German grip, see here, the back of my hand is facing straight up, okay, on both sides, and we're at a triangle here, okay? Not a super wide, not super narrow, but just a nice, comfortable triangle where your arm's at your side, all right? Your elbows are free from your waist. You're not scrunched together on your waist, but it's nice and free. And it gives that nice fluid motion, nice downward motion, okay? So that's for snare drum, playing toms, anything like that, okay? For timpani, we do what we call the French grip. This is our French grip, okay? With the French grip, you're using a lot of your finger, okay? A lot of your fingers here, and it's this motion. See this? See how I'm using my fingers here? This one's a lot harder to get used to. And so if you don't have German grip down yet, don't start working on a French grip. But those of you trying to play timpani and drum set, especially with your right hand, you'll use this type of grip. We'll talk about drum set in a later lesson. We'll need to start thinking about the French grip. All right? So hopefully this is helpful, and I want you guys to start working on these concepts on your own.